least I can record on it. All right, welcome, new you client support. It is good to see you here today on this incredibly hot Tuesday. Drop into the chat what the temperature is where you are at. Right now it says we had a high of 99, but at 6:31 p.m. it's only 90. You know, terribly humid. Feels like you're melting when you walk out the door, but that's okay. It is still summer, and so I'm thankful for that. I'd much rather, Michelle says the temperature is sweaty. Yes, it's thick. It's thick air. But ooh, 96 down in Georgia. Lori's got us built. Beat. Sorry, my son's asking me questions. I don't know. Check with her. So mom is the checking point. I'm supposed to know what everybody's doing. I don't know. I don't always know. Okay, so we're going to kick off tonight, element number 17, becoming a healthy motion machine. So I want to ask, does anybody have a win today or a win this week with your healthy motion? Anybody want to come off mute and share a win? Raise your hand or just come off mute. Courtney, you trying to come off mute there? I see ya. No, she's like, no, not me. All right, anybody else? Got a win, a healthy movement win this week? All right, well, I'm just going to start out then by sharing a little bit of my testimony. When I came into program, exercise was the farthest thing from my mind. I was in survival. I would work all day and come home and just be exhausted. Food was not really a priority. It was kind of a necessity to grab quick on the go. I was very busy, but didn't really take the time that I needed to fuel my body. I'd have like oatmeal in the morning, a lot of times skip lunch or ordering Jimmy John's, an unwich or something really quick. And then I'd come home, have a big dinner, and I always wanted to have a treat in the evening. So that was kind of my food routine. Not great. I wasn't really conscious of getting in my vegetables and my meat, and I was just plain exhausted. I suffered with a lot of digestive issues. I have an intermittent movement disorder where sometimes I need a cane to walk. Today is one of those days with the severe changes in weather that seems to trip me up. And so for me, exercise was on good days when I felt good and I could do it. I would maybe walk the dog if I wasn't exhausted. I wasn't going to the gym. Being a health and exercise person was the farthest thing from my mind. Like I said, surviving versus thriving. So after I lost my weight in the summer of 2021, I lost 33 pounds in 2.5 months and noticed a huge difference in my energy, a huge difference in reduction in pain and inflammation. Certainly not a fix for all my autoimmune weirdness stuff that I deal with or neurologic stuff, but I knew that I wanted to exercise. So I hit the gym hardcore and I would hit it hard and then I would wipe myself out and not be able to go back for 2 weeks. Anybody ever do that? I would commit to something and I would overdo it, exhaust myself, and I could not follow through. And so it was this vicious cycle. And so finally, through Dr. Anderson's Habits of Health, I realized that I needed to start small. Okay. And that's what we're going to kind of talk about today is we don't want to despise small beginnings. It is important. We have to start little bits at a time. So we were created to be in motion. That's how God created us to be. And unfortunately, with modern technology, we have gone from doing probably about 3,000 minutes a week of healthy motion down to, let's say we do 300 minutes of healthy motion a week. And if you're getting that much in, you're considered to be extremely active. We live in a very sedentary society. Dr. Anderson often tells us that sitting is the new smoking, and it's slowly killing us. Unfortunately, with this world of many modern conveniences, it just accommodates a sedentary lifestyle. When I was studying this element, it made me visualize the humans from the movie WALL-E. Can anybody picture them? I was going to pull a picture up here and show you, but unfortunately, that is kind of what a lot of Americans do. Astronauts kind of taught us a lot about the importance of gravitational resistance. When the astronauts first went to space, a startling side effect was noticed. In a very short amount of time, they would lose their fitness, they would notice atrophy of muscles, and they would have signs of aging in their physical health just from being in orbit without gravity for short amounts of time. So with all the sitting that we do, and we are no longer moving against gravity. So when you think about that, we're not resisting gravity when we're sitting. And so that is not burning calories. It's not creating muscle. It is working against us. I've got Ruth coming into the waiting room here. Let's get her added. So it's time to do some self-awareness, some self-evaluation. Do you have sitting disease? Maybe we need to kind of start tracking it. How much of your day are you sitting? Do you know that 86% of Americans report sitting all day long? And with jobs, a lot of times that is the requirement. You're sitting in front of a computer 8 hours a day. So the first thing we want to do is understand the importance of increasing our motion. So we want to learn a healthy new mindset, and that's becoming aware of how much we're sitting. So start taking an inventory. And then we want to learn the skills to actually take some action. We want to make healthy motion a part of our everyday lifestyle. Drop in the chat if you're already incorporating some kind of healthy motion in your new lifestyle. I also want to make sure that you're in communication with your coach before you're doing something crazy like I did. Going to the gym, going all out, not getting enough calories in, don't do that. Talk to your coach before you start any new healthy motion. That is very, very important. One of my scriptures that God keeps reminding me about this year is it's one I never really noticed or paid attention to before, but it's found in Zechariah, and it's in chapter 4, verse 10. And it says, "Do not despise these small beginnings." You know, everything that we do has to start out somewhere. You had to make that first phone call to get on program. You had to conquer your fear to reach out and ask, right? Everything begins with one step, and our healthy motion is the same thing. We can't conquer it all at once. And so God reminds us, do not despise these small beginnings. I don't know about you, but I suffer from this. And that's probably why God keeps reminding me, I want quick fixes. I want to see immediate results. I am an all or nothing kind of girl. I want to go in for a hard workout and I want to keep it up. I want to stick with my commitments. And so then I'm afraid to start something because I'm afraid I'm going to fail. And so I am learning the importance of baby steps. And I want you guys to learn the importance of baby steps in our health journey too. So when I knew I needed to incorporate healthy motion, reading Dr. Anderson's Habits of Health, and I tried the hardcore classes and I couldn't do it. What I found is that I could do aqua aerobics. And that's something I can do on good days or bad days, days that I'm moving well, days that I'm not. I can push myself on harder on days that my body is working better, and on days where I can barely get out of bed, I can still roll into the pool and do my exercise. So that is where I started out. And now I kind of feel like I'm one of the strongest, and I'm definitely the youngest. I guess my little sister, I make her come with me, so she's a little younger in that aqua aerobic class, right? But now it's time I need to up my game. And I think that's what our next step is. We need to all up our game just a little bit. So we have to get, just like I said, 1% better every day. We're going to learn how to crawl before we tackle walking. So there is 2 different kinds of healthy movement. And if I had this pie chart, I would show you. We've got exercise. That's like this tiny little piece of it. And then we've got the whole big circle, which is actually physical activity. So the majority of our day, we have the option just to do healthy movement. And we want to carve out that little bit of time for our planned out physical exercise if you're at that point in your program and if you've cleared it with your coach. Okay. So did we put anything in the chat? What kind of healthy movements are we doing right now? Did anybody drop anything in there? I could open my chat. Here we go. We got 12 things in the chat. Short walks. I like that. Walking more at work. Okay, that's good stuff. And Janet's got a desk she can stand at. That's a huge thing. I love that. All right, anybody else? Are we doing any kind of healthy motion? Yeah, see, walking more, doing our yard work. Michelle is a push mower, and we're going to talk about that too. So we're going to put down, or we're going to talk about two different ways of exercise. We've got NEAT exercise and we've got EAT exercise. Okay, so these are two acronyms. The first one is for non-exercise something thermogenics. I'm drawing a total blank right now. And the other one is for exercise thermogenics. So basically those planned activity ones fall under EAT and the non-planned ones fall under our NEAT. And so our job, that's going to drive me crazy. I didn't write down what that means. Does anybody have that? And I have my life book right here. The definition of NEAT. What does the A stand for?
Activity.
There we go. Thank you. Non-activity. Is it activity? Really? Activity? All right. I'm
non-exercise activity thermogenesis.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, guys. I'm glad somebody's on it. I'm drawing a blank. Okay. So today we're going to focus mostly on NEAT, and we're going to focus on making our NEAT neater, because we can actually carve off extra calories by doing simple things every day, which is going to increase our overall health and stamina and allow us to transition into more of those exercise activity thermogenics that we're talking about. So we are going to talk about some examples of what we can do. If you have your life book, I want you to turn to page 339. Because our NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenics, can be 15 to 50% of our whole day. So we want to start here. So let's look at some of those examples on page 339. So at work, here are some things that we could do. Now they start out kind of big here. They've got walking or biking to work, parking farther away from the door. You guys can do this when you're out shopping or whatever. Park your car in the furthest spot out so you get some extra steps in. This one is important. Get up several times an hour that you are sitting. So set yourself a timer and get up and take a little walk around your room. Or like Janet said, maybe you can get a standing desk at your office so you're standing up. Choose to use a restroom at the other end of the building. Use the stairs rather than taking the elevator. I know I spend a lot of time on my phone. Something you can do is just be intentional when you're on your phone. Don't sit down. Use that as time to be up and moving. Ask if you can do walking meetings. See if you can take your meetings outside, get some fresh air. That would be nice. Stand at least if you're not walking while you're on the phone. And practice having a tall core when you're sitting, standing, or walking. So these are all things that are going to help us resist gravity while we have to get through our workday. That's what it's all about, resisting gravity. We don't want to become like those guys on WALL-E. So at home, what are some simple, neat activities that we can do? Does anybody have any suggestions? Can you think of something or something that you've incorporated into your day? Drop it in the chat there. This is a really simple one. We can start each day just by making our bed. Do you know that even doing that is going to make you feel better, but it's going to burn off some extra calories. You're taking the time, pulling up the sheets, tucking things in, making it look pretty. Okay. I love that. Cleaning, turning on music. Absolutely. Those are all neat activities. I heard one on a Zoom that was really good. It was doing squats while you brush your teeth. You know, you could get in, you know, as you're doing your things, make sure you're just intentional, take some time, do some squats while you're doing an everyday activity. Manually brush your teeth versus power brush your teeth. Michelle put in there, when she goes up and down the stairs, do it twice, just to do it more times. That's awesome. I love doing the music while you're cleaning your house. It's going to add more movement. Perfect. Manually washing your car. Yep. Manually using a broom versus a vacuum, using a hand rake, getting outside and doing some activities there. This is good. Hide the TV remote. Pretend like you don't have a remote. That would require you to get up and change the channel whenever you want to. It's still part of that getting up every 20 minutes, to move. Have an after dinner walk. Everybody can start here. Get out, get fresh air. It kind of resets your mind, gives you that fresh perspective and helps you settle down and even help you sleep. On the go, we can engage in hobbies. We can get out and walk around the mall if it's too hot. We can get out and swim at a local pool, go for a walk in the woods. If you have a lake or a beach nearby, those are great motivators. So these are all things that we can do to resist gravity in our everyday life. I'm going to move into the charts goal. So Dr. Anderson has been so kind. He breaks everything down from, like, we set a goal and we break it down into the habit that we want to create, but we're going to take it down even further into micro habits. I was referring to James Clear, Atomic Habits. If you've not read it or listened to it, I highly recommend it. We were blessed to have James Clear and Dr. Anderson have an interview together on stage at our Optivian convention. And these are two men who very much specialize in taking big goals and breaking them down into simple things. One of the examples that I loved was, tectonic plates. We see volcanic eruptions. We see tsunamis from movements of tectonic plates. We see the big explosion. And that's kind of how it is for us too. But we see people have exponential growth. We see people that are in shape and that are living a healthy lifestyle. We see the final product, but we're not looking at all the work that went into it. So think about those tectonic plates as they're moving back and forth, thousands of years, sometimes millions of years of friction, just back and forth until finally that final one breaks. And that is what causes this eruption. And we see this big, incredible explosion of activity. We as humans want to see immediate results, but what we need to do is take those habits, which are essentially our goals, break them down into these little tiny things that we're doing each day, because consistency is going to produce the results that we want. So just like you guys are changing your habits of eating to get the consistency that you want in your overall energy and in your body makeup, we want to do the same thing for our movement. We're going to break it down into these tiny little bits that we can tackle. So Dr. Anderson gave us these. I want to say there's 6 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes. So first thing we want to work on, we want to have a better stance. We want to have better posture. How many of you have seen people as they age that they're scooping forward? And some of that, is necessarily, osteoporosis and different things like that. But we want to do as much as we can to resist gravity. We want to make sure that we've got a good posture. We want to be working on a firm core so that as we age, we have a strong core and we can maintain a better posture. So how do we work on that? We want to just start by being intentional about our posture. So first thing is awareness. And once we become aware of it, then we practice it. Oh, I lost Janet. Let's get her back in here. So Dr. Anderson says, let's be intentional. There's a chart in your life book. If you guys are charting people, you can, or you can just make a mental note. We want to start focusing on our core posture 2 minutes a day. So at some point in your day, let's become aware of how our posture is, how we're sitting, and we want to work up to our goal is perfect posture, 30 minutes a day. So if you're sitting, let's focus on our posture, okay? So 2 minutes a day consistently. Each week, let's increase that 2 minutes to 3 minutes to 4 minutes until we're up to 30 minutes of intentionally having that good posture and holding that. So that is stance. That's your first S. Our second S is standing. Our goal is to stand 2 hours a day. I remember when I first joined Royal Scots, and it was the choir that we joined in college. And at rehearsal, we went the first day and there were no chairs. We had 2-hour rehearsals Tuesday night and Thursday night, singing the entire time, and we weren't allowed to sit. We were allowed to stand and have good posture and practice singing. And as an 18-year-old kid, I thought that was going to kill me. I did not know what it was like to stand for 2 hours at a time. Okay. So let's be more aware. How often are we standing? You're probably not going to start out by just standing 2 hours a day unless you have that standing desk. We're going to ease into it. So here's our goal. We're going to be moving from sitting to standing because it can significantly increase our energy consumption. That's a lot to say, Blah, especially with a lisp. We want to increase energy consumption because we are all about burning excess calories, right? We want to be in that fat burn. So our goal, 2 hours a day. So let's start by being intentional with an extra 10 minutes of standing a day. Okay, these are our micro habits. Next thing is strolling. This is all part of our NEAT exercise. So this could be just your taking an extra long route to the water cooler, an extra long route to the bathroom. It could be, like we said, parking the car further away. It could be push mowing your lawn rather than doing the rider. So our goal is 10,000 steps a day. But I'm telling you what, if you start $10,000 or $10,000 a day, we don't have to, I'm trying to admit Lori. Okay, Lori, we got Lori back in the Zoom. I can't do 2 things at once with my brain. You probably can't start out doing 10,000 steps a day. But what we want to do is we're going to increase 100 steps. Dr. Anderson says 100 steps each week. I think that's probably a good, that's really simple. You could probably increase that 50 to 100 steps a day. But if we're breaking it into those micro habits, let's add 100 steps a week. You want some kind of device to track your steps, whether that's a Fitbit or a watch, but let's be intentional about the steps that we're taking in. Walking is super important. And Higgins is being naughty, sorry. Okay, hopefully he will stop. The next thing is stairs, and Michelle already hinted towards this. This is a great way for us to increase our NEAT. Do you know that 1 flight of stairs is the equivalent of 100 extra steps? It doesn't count that on our Fitbit or on our iWatch or whatever, but 10 flights of stairs gives you the full benefits of doing half a mile. So that simple activity, run up the stairs to grab something, be intentional, go back up a second time. Let's increase that. So our goal is increasing 10 flights of stairs a day. But what we're going to do is we're going to do 1 extra. Dr. Anderson says 1 extra flight of stairs a week. You know your capacity, you know your health, maybe 1 extra flight of steps a day would be something that's a little better for you. Next S is Samba. And Janet talked about this. Do you know that the simple act of turning on music makes your body move? You could just be tapping your toe. You could be hitting your pencil. That is calorie expansion. So having music on allows your body to move, and that in itself creates movement. So burns energy. So put on music that you love. I think sometimes we get busy and we forget that there is music that actually brightens our mood, helps us to feel better, and it also is going to help us move and burn some calories. So our goal is at least 90 minutes of music a day. How many people are already listening to 90 minutes of music a day? I know I probably am. But our micro habit is we're going to increase that 10 extra minutes of music a day. So, and let's be intentional about moving to that music. Dr. Anderson says our goal is to actually have 1 hour of dance a week. So it doesn't matter what you look like. We can dance, we can have fun, we can move to the music. It's going to help bring back just the childhood fun of movement. I think that's one of the things that we lose as adults. Exercise becomes this chore, this thing that we feel like we have to do. And there's a lot to be said about being a kid, getting outside, enjoying movement, enjoying music, moving our bodies. It's so important, and there's so much freedom in that. So that's your excuse. Turn up your music, be silly, and move, because we are burning extra calories. And last but not least, our last S is switch. And this is to do things by hand rather than by using machines. So this could be dishwashing. That's going to help you burn some calories. Oh, I don't want to even think about this. Snow blowing. We could skip that and we could actually do shoveling. That is going to happen here in Northwest Illinois again. Oh, I don't even want to think about that. All right, I'm not shoveling. I'm just going to tell you that. I'll go to the gym 5 days a week, but I will not shovel. Okay, you can be your own remote control. We talked about this before. Put your remote control aside. If you have a TV that allows you even to change the channel without the remote, maybe just put it up at the TV. Then it won't get lost, and then you have to get up anytime you want to change that channel. You can burn up to an extra 30 calories a day just by substituting 1 or 2 manual tasks. So be thinking about that. What can we do? What can we substitute that's going to allow us to have healthy motion in our life? Next week, we're going to talk more about the intentional portion of exercise. But I would love any of my coaches, any of the clients in these last few minutes here, if you want to come off mute and just share a testimony of how you feel or how you've incorporated more movement into your lifestyle because of the healthy habits, because you have more energy. Anybody want to come on off and share just a little win of how this has changed your life, something maybe you can do now that you didn't do before? I know there's somebody out there. Don't make me voluntold you. I see Tammy Smith smiling. You got
Well,
something you want to tell us?
I can just tell you that I just became more mindful of everything I do. You know, from going to the grocery store and looking for the closest parking spot. I don't do that anymore. I go as far out as I can. I go to the grocery store and I walk around the whole store. I'm not always cutting corners on everything I do, because I feel like, one, I can do it, I have the energy, and 2, it gives me all my steps. I really, really monitor my steps with my Fitbit. I think that is just so important. So I think everybody should have one of those, something to track it. And if I don't have my steps in, then I jump on the treadmill or ride my bike or do something.
That is awesome, Tammy. That's what it is all about. And so that's really what the habits of health are. First of all, we have to become aware of maybe some habits that we have that are not the greatest. We have to develop the skills, and that's where you're going to learn the skills, is by coming together in community. We can help one another. We can get into the Habits of Health book together, our life book, and we can learn new skills. We can learn better ways of doing things. So once we learn those skills, then it's our job to implement them. And so being aware of it, I want you guys this week to really be thinking about, what's a way that maybe I don't shortcut this, but what's a way that maybe I can burn more calories by doing this? And you're going to find that you're going to feel better. Your energy level is going to be better, and it's going to help you in your overall fat burn. Because I know probably the majority of those who are in here are still on a 5 and 1 or on a 4 and 2. And so we want to be burning more calories and being more active. So all of this works together to become the you that God created you to be, and to move into that ultra health, into your full potential. So thank you guys for taking time on this Tuesday night to jump in here and learn the habits of health together. Like I said, next week, we're going to be talking about being intentional about our exercise. So you might want to have a conversation with your coach. Tell them what you're doing right now. Make sure that you're at a point where you can be more intentional. And maybe we need to talk amino acids to make sure that we're not cutting into any of that. We want to make sure we're feeding the lean muscle, not eating the lean muscle. So if you have questions about that, reach out to your coach. We are here to support you guys. Grateful for you. Remember to keep up the good work. It all happens one habit at a time. So have a blessed night. Thank you.